Hey, welcome back. So, something happened this week that I genuinely cannot believe more people aren't talking about. The US government just introduced a bill to buy 1 million Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dropped. At the same time, the Dow Jones hit an all time high. That is one of the strangest setups I've seen in a while, and I want to walk you through exactly what's happening and why I think the drop is actually the least important thing going on right now. Let's get into it. Because what Congress just introduced this week, if it passes, changes Bitcoin's entire long-term story. I'll show you exactly what it says, by the way. Quick chart read, by the way. Bitcoin at $77,277. The 200-day EMA at 81K is above us. That's the target. The key support everyone is watching is 74,500. That level has held as a floor multiple times over the last 2 years. If it holds, base case is a grind back to 79,000, then 81,000. If it breaks, next conversation is 72K. Daily RSI at 48, weekly RSI at 46, both approaching but not yet at oversold. Think of RSI like a rubber band. The more it gets stretched in one direction, the more likely it snaps back. We're getting close to that stretch zones on the weekly time frame. Not there yet, but very close. NVRV on the other hand at 0.76, still below 1, still historically undervalued. The 200-week EMA at 68K is the long-term floor well below us. Now the ARMA bill, because this is the thing nobody is connecting to today's price action, and it's actually significant. Real quick, by the way, if you want to trade around these levels, I use Bitunix. No KYC, deposit takes like 2 minutes. Link is in the description and pinned in the comments. So here's the thing most people missed this week. 16 members of Congress, bipartisan, just introduced the American Reserve Modernization Act of 2026 called ARMA. Here's what it does in plain English. It directs the US Treasury to acquire up to 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years. Budget is neutral, meaning no taxpayer money. It would be held for a minimum of 20 years. The only exception is selling to reduce America's national debt, which just crossed $39 trillion. And it includes quarterly proof of reserve audits and independent third-party verification. Now, the US already holds 328,000 Bitcoin, worth over $25.5 billion. That's already the largest government Bitcoin holding of any nation on Earth. ARMA would add up to 1 million more on top of that. Let me put the 1 million Bitcoin number in context. There are only 21 million Bitcoin total. About 4 million are permanently lost, so the actual circulating supply is roughly 17 million. The US government is proposing to acquire about 6% of the entire existing Bitcoin supply over 5 years, and then lock it up for 20 years. The bill sponsor said, and I want to quote this precisely, the US already one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world, but Congress has never set a federal policy on what to do with that asset. Stripe CEO Matt Cole called ARMA the single most important crypto legislation that could come out of Washington, D.C. This bill hasn't passed yet. I want to be clear about that. It needs to go through committee, both chambers, and get signed. That process takes time, but 16 bipartisan sponsors and White House backing through the President's Council of Advisors for Digital Assets, that's meaningful momentum. So why is Bitcoin dropping while all this is happening? That answer is actually more interesting than it looks. Here's what's actually causing the drop, and it's not what you think. The Dow Jones just hit a fresh all-time high. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq are also coiling near record levels. Stocks are in price discovery, and Bitcoin dropped 1.2% at the same time. That divergence tells you something specific. This is not a crypto-specific problem. This is a rotation. When stocks are making new highs, some institutional capital rotates out of alternative assets like Bitcoin and into equities. It happens in cycles. The Coinbase Premium Index is at monthly low. That means US buyers on Coinbase are paying less for Bitcoin than buyers on Binance, for example. US demand is genuinely soft right now, but, and this is important, Binance buyers are stepping in. Analysts noted this week that whales typically use negative Coinbase premiums to accumulate at slightly lower prices. In other words, the smart money is quietly buying while US retail backs off. ETF outflows, on the other hand, 105 million today, another soft day, but total AUM is still $106 billion. The big picture hasn't broken. So here's where I actually stand and what the ARMA bill changes about my long-term thinking. Before my take, by the way, Bitunix is where I trade. No KYC, get founded. Link is in the description and pinned in the comments. Here's where I stand short and honest. Short term, the chart is uncomfortable. Bitcoin is below the 200-day EMA. Coinbase demand is weak. week, stocks are making new highs while Bitcoin sits at $77,277. I'm watching 74,500 that holds. I hold my position that breaks. I add 72k. But here's where I keep coming back to. While the price is doing this, Congress is introducing a bill to buy 1 million Bitcoin and lock it up for 20 years. The US already holds more Bitcoin than any government on earth. Whales are quietly accumulating at Coinbase discount. MVRV is at 0.76, still undervalued, and the weekly RSI is approaching the kind of stretch oversold territory where bottoms historically form. The price drop at the ARMA bill happened in the same week. Most people only saw the drop. I want you to see both. Base case 74,500 holds, capital rotation into stocks reverses, Bitcoin grinds back toward 81k. Risk case on the other hand, 74,500 breaks, 72,000 is next, I add there. The level to watch is 74,500. Let me know what you think in the comments, by the way. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.